Rytok, who was the Galactic Federation's first speaker, did not believe in omens. Yet the image remained stubbornly lodged in his mind. The human ambassador extending his hand, the simple gesture signifying the dawn of a new era. The gesture itself was unremarkable, the same four-fingered clasp used by countless species since time immemorial. But those fingers, they were blunt, unadorned, utterly devoid of the shimmering scales, delicate bioluminescence, or subtle color shifts that marked most sentient species in the known galaxy. They were the hands of unaugmented, unmodified biology. In the grand tapestry of the Federation, humans were an unexpected, dissonant thread. Rytok had studied the briefing files extensively, of course. Their meteoric rise from primitives teetering on the brink of self-annihilation to repelling the Thrax invasion was nothing short of extraordinary. It spoke of a volatile mix of cunning, ruthlessness, and a tenacity that bordered on desperation. Useful qualities in the face of overwhelming threat, but would this forge fire intensity translate to cooperation? Or would it sow the seeds of conflict within the delicate balance of the Federation? As he strode through a corridor of iridescent glass, a subtle shift in the filtered sunlight caught his keen eye. Rytok paused, observing the delegation of reptilian Seleni locked in quiet but strained debate with a cluster of insectoid Corellos known for their shrewd mercantile ways. It was a scene replayed countless times throughout Federation history. Vying interests, diplomatic tensions, and trade disputes bubbling beneath a facade of civility. This was his domain, the intricate dance of power and compromise that had maintained the relative peace of the Federation for centuries. The presence of a new player, especially one as unknown and unpredictable as humanity, added a level of complication that unsettled his mathematically inclined mind. Variables multiplied with dizzying speed, potential outcomes branched and twisted like the roots of an ancient star tree, defying easy predictions. The first speaker's title wasn't merely symbolic. His people possessed an innate sensitivity to temporal patterns within the ebb and flow of galactic events. Yet, looking at the human dossier, trying to chart their future within the Federation, Rytok felt a rare ripple of uncertainty, a discord within the otherwise predictable symphony of galactic politics. A flicker of annoyance crossed his scaled features, a brief betrayal of the internal disquiet he meticulously kept hidden. Rytok prided himself on navigating the complex currents of interspecies relations. Still, the humans represented a blind spot, an uncharted territory on the ever-shifting map of the cosmos. Over the past weeks, the human delegation's movements offered a frustrating mix of contradictions. The diplomats displayed a surprising level of finesse when confronted with the subtle nuances of Federation protocol. Yet just when he believed them capable of playing this long game of conciliation and compromise, their military contingent conducted a series of joint drills that had even seasoned Federation tacticians scratching their heads in grudging admiration. It was as if the humans chafed at the constraints of diplomacy, even as they actively embraced it. He recalled Captain Petrova, the leader of their security detail. Her scarred visage and unwavering vigilance were a constant, silent reminder of how precariously peace hung in the balance after their encounter with the Thrax. The lingering traces of battle showed the hard lessons learned and the potential cost of future conflict. That potential, the volatile spark he sensed beneath their disciplined facade, fascinated and unnerved Rytok. Were the humans merely a new weapon to be wielded in the ancient game of galactic power? Or could they be the catalyst for something unpredictable? Perhaps that, he mused, was the true source of his disquiet. The humans defied being just another variable in the grand equation. They had the potential to alter the equation itself. Days stretched into sleepless nights as Rytok obsessively reviewed reports, trying to piece together a coherent picture of humanity's capabilities and intentions. Strategic projections collided with cultural analyses, forming a swirling vortex of data that refused to offer easy answers. In the grand chambers where history-altering treaties were forged, he found himself distracted by the echo of booted footsteps in parade formation, the metallic tang of recycled air tinged with the faint scent of human sweat and adrenaline. The ghosts of their war haunted the halls of peace. Rytok knew whispers were spreading faster than a virus in a quarantine zone. The more astute members of the Federation Assembly sensed the shift in dynamics, the tremor of change. Some saw the humans as a source of revitalization, a jolt of much-needed audacity in an overly complacent galactic community. Others, however, voiced concerns, their unease disguised as caution. There were murmurs about the Thrax, their sudden withdrawal on the heels of encountering humanity, and whether that retreat was truly permanent. He knew fear was a potent force, and fear of the unknown could lead even the most rational species to irrational decisions. If the humans were allowed to become the Federation's newest boogeyman, unity would crack, and the delicate balance he'd worked tirelessly to maintain would crumble. He had to tread carefully. Rytok prided himself on understanding the intricate balance of incentives and compromises required to maintain the Federation. The assembly floor wasn't a battlefield to be conquered, but a labyrinth to be carefully navigated. The key to his influence had always been measured reassurance, a calming presence amidst the storm of conflicting interests. Yet the prospect of guiding a course for both his own people and these unnervingly unpredictable newcomers left him sleepless and weary. Rytok needed time and clarity, but the humans had unwittingly set a clock in motion, and the incessant ticking echoed in the polished marble floors of his sanctuary, a relentless countdown to a pivotal decision. Should he embrace them, fostering their integration as a means to revitalize the Federation, or should he strive to control them, channeling their volatile energy before it could turn against the very foundation of this galactic alliance? Perhaps, he thought with a surge of grim determination, the time for calculated diplomacy had come to an end. In the presence of this uncharted human element, perhaps it was time for the first speaker of the Federation to become a gambler, placing his trust in a species that had repeatedly shown they could defy all expectations. Rytok ascended the steps to the speaker's platform overlooking the vast assembly hall. Delegates of countless species, a kaleidoscope of colors and forms, shifted in their seats, their collective gaze upon him. The air crackled with barely concealed anticipation and unease. He surveyed the chamber, his eyes briefly finding the human delegation seated among the Federation's established members. They were a sobering reminder of everything at stake. Rytok began. His voice wasn't one of booming declarations, but the calculated precision of a surgeon's scalpel. Acknowledging the apprehension in the room, he carefully painted a picture of humanity as a species of both inspiring potential and undeniable risk. He didn't downplay their past, nor did he present them as a contained threat. Instead, he framed them as a chaotic and unpredictable force of nature, possessing the power to shape the Federation's destiny either towards greatness or ruin. Silence fell as his speech concluded. Then from the Xylari delegation, a blinking hoverbot ascended, a gesture of measured inquiry within Federation protocols. Rytok gestured, granting them the floor. The ensuing debate was as he'd expected, cautious optimism vying with fear-driven skepticism. Yet it was the undercurrent of excitement that surprised him. Complacency, the Federation's greatest unspoken enemy, seemed to be cracking under the weight of this new challenge. When the final votes were cast, the margin was slimmer than anticipated. But it was enough. The humans were accepted into the Galactic Federation, their journey intertwined with the Federation's for better or worse. A new era, uncertain and exhilarating, had begun. First Speaker Rytok descended from the speaker's platform, his mind racing. He wasn't a fool. He acknowledged the dangers of his gamble. Yet as he passed the human delegation, he met Ambassador Kellis's eyes and saw not triumph, but a steely resolve mirroring his own. Maybe this was the spark the galaxy needed. He was confident that the human journey within the Federation would be perilous, but he suspected, with a strange jolt of anticipation, that it would also be a journey unlike anything seen before, a symphony of chaos and cooperation that had the potential to reshape the music of the stars.